Hello guys, this is Heather Markham again with Prosper Your Home and Avini Health. And today I just wanted to do a quick follow-up video since I just talked a little bit about why I'm doing Avini Health. And I wanted to give a little bit of more about Zeolite, what it is, and why Cell Defender with Avini is so much different than everything else that you see on the market. Partly because those of you who are searching up zeolite, for instance, or looking into stuff that has to do with detoxifying heavy metals or chemicals, pesticides, volatile organic compounds, all that. As you're doing your searching, you're going to be getting a lot of stuff in your suggested list of videos to be watching about zeolite products that are out there. And I want you to understand why not every zeolite is created equally, and why ours, specifically Avini Health, is not only the best, but it is literally the category creator. Well, Rik Deitch created. He was the first one to learn how to micronize, activate, and basically get zeolite to the point where it was clean enough to be able to be consumed for human consumption. So I wanted to give you a little backstory on what exactly zeolite is. So zeolite is what happens when volcanic ash comes out and mixes with the ocean water and basically gets to this state where it combines and turns into a crystalline salt-like creation, okay? A crystalline substance, like a crystal. And over time gets compressed and it becomes this cage-like structure in the earth. And it's an amazing, amazing thing that becomes a filter for the earth. It has the capability of pulling toxins out of our environment, out of the air, out of the ground. And it has a negative charge. So what that means is that when it is combined with positively charged things, it's like, a magnet, it pulls it into it. So things that have a positive charge are things like lead, arsenic, mercury, cadmium. All of those things that have a negative charge are actually bad for the body. Things like the volatile organic compounds and the pesticides and all that stuff, they're bad. Interestingly enough, same thing goes for bacteria in the body that's bad for you versus bacteria that are good. Those have the negative charge and the ones that are bad have the positive charge. So it's really fascinating how God just made things work for us for our good in nature. But what I wanted to get to is that zeolite, again, is just, it's amazing what it could do. Rik Deitch was one of the first people to recognize that that most of the zeolites that people were using and consuming, which it has been done for centuries. There's a tribe that, oh gosh, I can't even remember where he was describing what country it was in, but they're called clay eaters. Bentonite clay is something that for a long time people have consumed as a method for absorbing toxins and getting poisons out of the gut. And that's something that is effective in its own way. But again, it kind of works with the gut. Most zeolites that are out there, kind of the same story. So zeolite, because it is dirty, it's absorbing junk from our atmosphere. It gets full. It's like a dirty sponge. So most people that are selling their zeolite version, they don't know the best method for decontaminating it properly. And a lot of them, when they first heard about Rik's research, started to get excited about it, and they ended up, starting their own company and taking some of his white papers and some of the information and research that he had already put out there and putting their label on it. So we're really cautious on on some of those that are out there. And Rik has actually done several studies on many different companies' zeolites and actually broken it down and taken samples and done third-party testing and stuff just to make sure, it is what it is, and it's been just to see if it's been cleaned or not. And in pretty much every case, either it wasn't cleaned properly or there was actually no trace of legitimate zeolite in it. So I wanted to kind of cover that a little bit. Oh, and just disclaimer, I'm sorry about the quality of my video. I've been searching for a webcam that's not going to be causing me any problems, but with the low light settings and the stuff that I've got going on, it is what it is. I'm just going to go with it. And I'm sorry that, you know, it's second rate kind of viewing, but we're going to work on getting a better webcam in the future. And I'm just learning tech, guys, so I'm not that great with it. So I'm just going to, I'm holding up these papers, okay? I'm not going to pull up Zoom. I don't want to have to take the time to have to learn to do it just to do this video. I just need to get it done. I'm tired of waiting. So, I'm just going to go over this checklist with you real fast. So, zeolite checklist, okay? And many of you, if you're following me, you're probably in the health, like holistic health environment or interested in that. I know I have a lot of friends who already subscribe to a type of a zeolite that they absolutely love. And it was one of the things that got me started on this anyway. Thank you, Alexa. Anyway,
here is your reminder.
Alexa, stop. Sorry about that. Okay, so where was I? Okay. Anyhow, other people that are subscribing to zeolites, again, in theory, we need to get the toxins out. People are aware of that. We know that heavy metals are a problem, and there are many products out there that are doing something. They're just not as effective as they could be by far, especially compared to what ours is capable of. And I just want you to be aware of that. So, zeolite checklist. Let me read this. Okay. If you are considering taking zeolite for its amazing health benefits, then you should be certain that the one that you ingest has the unique qualities necessary for it to be safe and effective. Can the product say yes to all of these questions? There's 10 of them. There's 10 points here. So first of all, is the clinoptilolite used sourced from a naturally mined, not man-made industrial source? Okay, I'll just read this and then I'll give my little input on it too. So some companies use man-made zeolites from the refining and petrochemical industry, which have not been tested safe for human consumption. In fact, some companies' customers may be the testing ground. Our zeolite is natural and safe. Now, so you know, there are at least one, I'm thinking there might be more of them, but there are some that basically are stating that theirs is synthetic. And again, like I said, Rik Deitch, actually being the biochemist and scientist that he is, will break them down, look at them, test them, try to see what's inside, you know, so that he can basically see what's going on with his competitors as well. He's noticed that in particular, some of these, they don't really have what they say is in it, and it's usually a petrochemical creation, which is kind of ruining the point of zeolite to begin with. We're trying to get rid of the toxins. Also, with that, being that they're stating that it's a synthetic version, just so you know, synthetic, chemically created, altered state from a natural occurring product would be classified by the FDA as a drug. And if you are taking something, a natural occurring thing, synthesizing it and turning it into something that is not natural, and you are not reporting it to the FDA and doing your third-party testing and, you know, many various years and levels of research and development, legally it's not ethical, and the FDA can come down on companies for doing so. So just so you're aware, companies that are stating that theirs is a synthetic version, I highly suggest that you start looking into safeguarding your system because it's legally not ethical. And there's, yeah, I'll just say that I tried one that I was really hoping was going to work, and it didn't. And I don't know. For me, you know, I'm trying to be as gentle as I can about this, but it really does matter where you're getting your sources, where you're getting your information, and where your products are coming from. And integrity is everything. If you don't have integrity, eventually, you know, it's going to come out. And congruence is what creates health. Congruence creates energy. And I know that a lot of people have hope for some of these products that they've been hearing good things about. And I wonder sometimes if what's actually going on with the benefits that they're having is probably coming from the placebo effect. that our minds naturally have. Again, Joe Dispenza, you are the placebo. We're capable of having faith enough to be able to make anything happen and work for us and get benefits from things. But legitimately, if you're actually going to go do studies on your physical person and your blood works and be able to sequester or chelate minerals out to know whether or not you're actually having an effect, scientifically speaking, this is one of the only ways to really go about doing that. So, 2 is a colloidal suspension of activated zeolite. Okay, is it a colloidal suspension? So if the zeolite isn't in the proper liquid suspension, then it doesn't absorb at the appropriate levels. Cell Defender is formulated to be effective. Now, with that, a lot of powders of zeolite out there, they're very large, and I'll go into a little bit more on the microns about that, but it's a large particle, and it's basically a dust. But when you are taking something and micronizing it to, as number 3 states, is it uniformly micronized to less than 1 micron? When it gets to that kind of a particle size, it's so small, it needs to be blended with a colloidal purified water suspension so that it's not just going to blow away. You won't be able to even get it into you. Otherwise, you're breathing it in. But and that wouldn't be good for your lungs. So it has to be put into a colloidal suspension to keep something that particle size down. So, and yes, Cell Defender, if the size isn't right, then it doesn't work as intended. And Cell Defender is the only verified micronized zeolite. 4, does it have an intact structure with flat sides? The reason that one's a question, first of all, it says some zeolite companies say their product is micronized, but if they crack the zeolite cage into pieces, then it isn't structured to work, and our cage is intact, and that is what it is. It's like, if you crush something to the point that it's completely pulverized, it's like a box is no longer a box. You can't deconstruct a crystal to the point that there's like you're breaking the molecules apart and expect that it's going to be still whole. So like even with a diamond, when some companies do the diamond crushing and diamond dust making, if you can look at it under a microscope, it's still a whole diamond intact. But there are some procedures out there who are using zeolite that when they crush it, it actually smashes it and destroys the cage. And Rik has tested and verified that too. And if the cage is absolutely crushed, well, it's not going to be able to hold anything in it and absorb it into it because the molecule is no longer efficacious. So, 5, has it been cleaned of all heavy metals, chemicals, volatile organic compounds, mold spores, mycotoxins, and other impurities? Okay, with Cell Defender, yes. If the product is dirty, with potential toxins absorbed over millions of years, it may have prehistoric pathogens or toxins inside. Yikes, that's different. We use a 34-step process for verified cleanliness. So, it's basically, if your zeolite hasn't been cleaned, you're cleaning with a dirty sponge. It's not that it won't be effective in any way, shape, or form, but it's going to be less effective. I mean, it will still have a little holding power, as Rik states. When it goes to your system, it will pull a little bit in, but it's mostly just going to be in the gut, and it's not going to hold on to much. So, yes, people are getting some results, but I promise you, if you were to try Cell Defender, it's like 10xing your results. So 6, is it verified and certified for each batch that is clean? And for Cell Defender, yes. We test every batch with a third-party laboratory and receive COA, that's Certificate of Analysis, prior to sell. 7, once cleaned, is it activated to improve its holding capacity? With Cell Defender, yes, it is activated to strengthen its ability to grab and hold massive amounts of toxins for elimination in a 6 to 8 hour time frame. Okay, 8, is the product made by a biochemist or scientist, and of course, I've already been telling you, Avini Health's own Rik Deitch makes the Cell Defender zeolite suspension in his lab in South Florida. And again, he has had 25 years of knowledge in the field of zeolites. Only Avini uses his proprietary and trade secret process, which trade secret is actually a step ahead of patented. So nobody else can ever use his particular process. And again, he is the category creator. So he's the one who initially first found a way to micronize and activate zeolite, and everyone else thereafter has followed him. So 9, does the product focus on detox of blood and lymphatic systems? Yes, Avini's Health and Cell Defender are the culmination of 25 years of experience in the removal of toxins and metals from the blood and lymphatic systems. So, and again, that's all about the size. When you can get small enough, it really does matter. It has to be small enough to enter the bloodstream, but yet it has to stay large enough that it can still hold on to all of the toxins and the heavy metals. Because, as some companies claim, their particle size is so small that the description of the size they claim that it is actually smaller than what a true zeolite hole of the cage would be. So for it to actually hold on to it just wouldn't make legitimate biochemical sense for it to be able to hold on to the structure of these things. So 10, is it made in a qualified CGMP, that's current good manufacturing practice regulations, enforced by the FDA facility? So, and Rik Deitch's is because he is a biochemist who does create drugs for pharmaceuticals. And if you're using a zeolite as a support of your immediate health, wouldn't you want the best, most tested zeolite made by the category creator with 14 clinical studies and the backing of 25 years of knowledge? Yes, of course you would. So I hope that this was informative and helps you think before you jump into just buying any old zeolite off of the web or a company that claims to be reputable and claims to have all of these things. Again, most of the research articles and research papers, white papers, they took off of Rik's research that he has had for years and years. So, but please visit avinihealth.com// prosper your home if you want to learn more. And I'm happy to work with anybody to try me out as far as a session, an alignment session, that if you want to try that, if you want to look into more of my offerings, if you have some questions about Cell Defender or Plus Relief or any of the other Avini products, feel free to contact me and ask me about it. And either I or one of my business partners will be able to get back with you on that, and we'll help you to make a good decision about what we can do to help you in the best way possible with your health issues and concerns. And yeah, I'm all about really helping people the best way possible with the best of the best available products that are possible. It's really important. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a good day.